Welcome back to Game 3 of our triple header here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Mike Cepeda, Jeff Stoynoff, Matt Folsom with you. Matt Henson on technical direction and graphics today. Happy you've joined us, everybody. It's been a long one. Extra innings in Game 1. Sac City in the winner's bracket through to tomorrow. College of San Mateo now facing the Hawks from Santiago Canyon College after they dispatched Cypress and sent them packing here on the weekend. Jeff, this is going to be a tall task here for Riley Narwold, who just came off of a 132-pitch performance to dispatch Cypress.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they are imagining just a couple of innings, just a few innings out of Riley Narwold, maybe planning to go to Lauren Hammond for a certain stint that's been predetermined. We'll just have to wait and see how it develops with Narwold. But, yeah, that was a long outing getting past Cypress just moments ago.
Starting things off here for San Mateo, it's going to be the state's, well, the Northern State Player of the Year, Harley Donovan, followed by Caitlin Chang, Christy Peterson. Get to the player positions. That one hard hit over to third. Lanksberry up with it over to first in time. At third, it's Lanksberry. At short, Krista Carranza. At second, Alyssa Soika. At first, Brittany Howe. In left, it's Jordan Hickson, center, Jessica Daniel. And in right, Ashley Clark. Behind the dish, Manoa Vagurza. And Riley Narwold on or in the circle. Now it's Caitlin Chang.
Chang comes in batting .389.
That one hard hit but foul down the left field line.
5 home runs, 41 runs batted in.
Batting .375 on the weekend is Caitlin Chang. That one she takes outside for a ball, 1-1. It's the softball championships here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. 10:02 start time. Well, 10 o'clock start time. Now currently 10:02. Started the day at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, if you're watching this on the East Coast, I'm impressed.
Tony Kornheiser likely not watching. 2-1. That went outside as well, and Chang.
One other thing to consider with Narwold is she does seem to be a pitcher on the eye test that relies a little bit on movement, on a tailing action on some of her pitches. And she might be one of those pitchers that maybe even gets a little better when she gets a little tired, might help to increase that movement a little bit.
3-1, ripped foul. So 3-2 now, the count now full. Peterson on deck here for the Bulldogs from San Mateo. Now 42-5 on the season in 2016. What a season it has been for CSM. That one back to the pitcher. Narwold fields it over to first in time. 2 up and 2 down. And here comes Peterson. Peterson on the weekend also batting .375.
And of course, for Santiago Canyon, trying to avoid ghosts of 2014, their first trip to the Final Four, and they went home after a Game 5 loss with a third-place finish, and obviously they'd like to try and improve on that here in 2016.
Peterson batting from the left side.
Peterson batting .423 up to the moment on the season with a home run and 51 runs batted in. She had an eventful game earlier in Game 3 in that 10-inning classic. A couple of big hits at the plate, also finished it up on the mound, but took the loss.
And remember, everybody, you can catch this game live. Download the Ustream app for your tablet, PC, or smartphone device and search SoCal College Sports, one word, S-O-C-A-L, College Sports. You can catch us on the go. 2-0 pitch. Popped up. Taken by Hal, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the first inning for Riley Narwold. We'll be back. head to the bottom half of the first inning. Morgan Jones in the circle for the Bulldogs from CSM. In left, it's Caitlin Chain. In center, Kristen Kawaki. Riley Wells in right. At third, it's Samantha Dean. Shortstop, Megan Wells. Christy Peterson at second. Jordan Davis at first. Big home run in the bottom of the ninth to force extras in the eventual loss earlier today to Sac City. Behind the dish, Harley Donovan. And Morgan Jones took her first loss on the season, by what the stats are telling me here, in the last game versus Sacramento City in the winner's bracket in Game 3 earlier today. That one went extras. That go 10?
Well, it was Peterson who took the loss, so Jones still had the one loss coming in, I believe.
Apologies.
So she
Still
comes
22-1, still very good.
Yes, that's still very good.
And starting things off here, going to be Jordan Hicks. It'll be Hicks, Jessica Daniel, and Emily Alagi.
And just to Olegi. Just to complete the numbers on Jones, a 1.47 ERA to go with the 22-1 on the season.
Olegi went deep earlier today. And by my count, is that 18?
Yes.
On the year?
Takes the lead. See if Harley Donovan can answer.
We'll find out here. Win or go home. It's Game 5, second elimination game of the day here on our triple header coverage of SoCalCollegeSports.com and the softball championships. 2-1 now. On Hicks. That one back to the pitcher. Easy play for Morgan Jones. And she wheels and deals to first in time.
Mike, it'll be interesting to watch Morgan Jones and Samantha Dean if we see her, the two pitchers that have led San Mateo in this 2016 campaign. They're both freshmen. So, in a sense, they come in here with a clearer mind that this team is making their fourth appearance in a row. And we've talked about the pressure building up in San Mateo wanting to break through. But the two pitchers might be blissfully unaware of that coming in here as freshmen and might be able to just relax and worry about softball and get the job done. So we'll have to watch Jones here and obviously a pressure-filled start here in Game 5.
Yeah, sometimes if you're in your youth, you get lost in the moment. But sometimes it can help in the moment because you're unaware of how big it might be. It's a great point, Jeffrey. Daniel now the batter. Jessica Daniel on the weekend batting .400, so she's swinging a hot stick.
Yeah, Daniel just had a monster game earlier tonight with a couple of hits and 3 stolen bases. And, picking up Jordan Hicks, who's struggling a little bit this weekend, but Daniel bringing back a lot of what that top of the order has done for Santiago Canyon all season.
It's all right. We need a blanket up here.
Man. Oh, the cold air, it's invigorating. Keeping us awake.
It's keeping my blood pressure down, that's for sure. 2-1, 2-2 now.
So if ever you needed Exhibit A on how important it is to keep Daniel off the base pass, look no further than last game. So Jones with a big at bat.
Got her looking, strike 3 called. Morgan Jones records the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Emily Alegi. And Alegi, we talked about 18 home runs on the season, leads the state of California.
.489 batting average up to the moment.
Impressive. Only batting .286 in these championships, but a gaudy number on the season nonetheless. The 1-0. Hit hard, almost the same place from before. It's gone! Emily Olegi with her 19th home run of the year.
And it's shades of Game 4, and it was Olegi who started the scoring with a 2-run bomb in the first inning in that game.
An impressive at-bat there, takes a 1-0 pitch. And that one deeper than the one earlier today.
Yeah, that was a no-doubter.
Goes opposite. And the Hawks on the board.
San Mateo trailed 4-1 yesterday.
So Vergerza.
Sorry, Michael, just to finish the point, just trailed 4-1 in this very matchup yesterday, so expect that they will not be too rattled by being behind.
Well, it's a luxury if you're San Mateo and the ability to put runs up in a hurry. Matt Folsom has alluded to that throughout the weekend. He's had a good look at them throughout 2016. They can put numbers up just like that. But they find themselves down 1-0. That one called strike on the outer half, 1-1. Mr. Folsom, am I saying Vergerza? Is that correct? Vergerza. Chopped over to third. That is fair. Over in time is Samantha Dean, and that will do it. But it's Emily Olegui going deep for the only run of the ball game thus far. We are through 1-0. The Hawks on top of the Bulldogs on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Top of the second inning, 1-0, courtesy of Emily Olegui. And the solo shot in the bottom half of the first inning. Mike Spada, Jeff Stoynoff, Matt Folsom with you on today's coverage. Triple header coverage here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Day 3 championship Sunday tomorrow. The winner of this game will take on Sacramento City. Panthers with the night off, if you will. That pitch in there for a strike. Samantha Dean batting cleanup. And that one into the gap. This is going to get to the wall. Extra base hit for Samantha Dean. Or will it be? A great throw, and they got her. Terrific throw from Kristen Kawaki. So an extra base hit, not so fast. And Chesette, that was Jessica Daniel with an unbelievable throw from center field.
Yeah, Daniel just does a great job chasing that ball down. And then how about the quick rotation on the throw?
Yeah, well,
it's great footwork.
Dean hit that too well. That one goes opposite way, but it's foul. So it's a hit in the books off of Narwhal. but she has faced the minimum thus far. Jordan Davis now your batter. Davis went deep earlier today. In game 1, bottom of the 7th, her team down a run. Tied it up, forced extras.
That was her 6th home run of the season, and none more dramatic, I would have to imagine.
Hit of the year for her for sure.
448 average coming into play tonight.
Spread the word, everybody. Anybody who might be up, maybe watching from Hawaii.
Yes, we're huge in India right now. I think it's like a lunch break, you know?
It's high noon. High noon in the place of the customer service where Dell is located. 3-2 pitch. Fouled.
You don't use a Dell, but I sense you speak from experience.
I used to.
Yeah.
You will know. You put it out. You put it out of its misery.
Yeah, I believe I was responsible for its last days.
You know what? I'm not hating on you. It needed to go. We've upgraded in life.
It was a mercy killing.
We're alluding to a story where right before a football broadcast at Veterans Memorial at Long Beach City College, we were setting up the computer. We were due for a doubleheader that day, an early game and then a night game at Ventura. And Jeff setting up the computer. It was very top heavy.
Yeah, that's an important part of the story is that the screen of the computer weighed about 15 pounds.
And it was on top of a cord, so we wanted a flat bottom. And he lifted up the computer, and it fell about 100 feet to its death over the railing. No more Dell computers here on SoCal.
It was like the old Dave Letterman sketch where it was like we dropped stuff off a fifth-story building. It literally was that.
Jordan Davis draws a walk. Megan Wells now your batter here for the Bulldogs, trying to look for the equalizer.
Let's give the Dana out of the story that we still held it together to do both games.
We did both games. We did miss an early touchdown. It was Cerritos at Ventura.
Yep.
But you know what? We held it together. We
got it done.
We prevailed. We won.
I feel like that's the saying for SoCal college sports. We got it done.
We got it. We do get it done. That one fouled back to the netting.
Meanwhile, the first base runner of the night for San Mateo.
Narwhal delivers. This one popped foul. No one's going to get to it. 1-2 now on Megan Wells. Ariana Garcia on deck.
Not that you get to keep the ball, Michael, but if you ever wanted a souvenir here at the softball championships when Riley Narwhal is pitching, boy, you better know where to stand. I know where. Right down that left field line. I'm going to leave here with about 50 softballs.
Well, they want you to return those
yes,
to the softball caddies.
Yeah, it's
whenever you get the chance.
You don't get the souvenir, but it's too bad because
good job by Wells staying alive there. Was fooled, but did catch a piece. Fouls it back. 1-2. The count remains.
Wells batting .391 on the season. No home runs, 25 runs batted in.
Davis at first. That one lifted to left. Hicks with a beat on it. Puts it away for out number 2 here in the top of the second. What a play earlier this inning by Jessica Daniel.
Looms huge with Davis going on to reach base.
Could be first and second, 1 out. Instead, 2 out, runner at first. Ariana Garcia.
Well, I think if you're Samantha Dean on that play, you have to be surprised that the ball gets in that fast. On the other hand, if you're Samantha Dean, that play is happening in front of you.
Yeah.
You have to have your head up. And
well, I think by the time she got her head up, she was already in no man's land and just had to keep turning forward. Pickoff play in effect. But she is safe by Gertza.
Yeah, and in all likelihood, Ask Matt about that, but she's probably picking up the first base coach as well, who's making that call on whether or not to go to.
Keep him honest there at first. Davis with some wheels. High pitch there. That one, in effect, a pitch out, 1-2. Jordan Davis at first right now. Jeff, how many steals on, was a walk? How many steals on the season for Davis?
She has 4 steals in 5 attempts.
Wary of the speed. And we've seen Davis today very rangy at first. Made a couple very athletic plays to record outs for the Bulldogs. This one popped up. Foul. It's right in the middle of everything. Count remains 2-2. Game 6 tomorrow at high noon, Sacramento City. The Panthers will take on the winner of this game here. Right now it's Santiago Canyon College with a 1-0 lead. That one fouled off again. Jeff, it's a great point you made earlier. A lot of foul balls from Riley Narwold.
Especially working on those right-handed hitters. She does such a good job of busting it inside.
2-2. Over to third, handled well by Lanksberry. Up in time, over to first. And that will do it. They strand Jordan Davis. And we head to the bottom half of the second inning here, 1-0. Let's see if the Hawks can add to their lead here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
And we'll get some trivia in for you here real quick. In the field of dreams, what is the actual first name of Moonlight Graham? You can email your answers to SoCalCollegeSports@hotmail.com, and the first person to answer correctly will receive a free copy of tonight's game.
A free digital copy of tonight's game to the first person to answer that correctly.
The first person to do a better imitation of James Earl Jones than Mike.
Well, it's not very good to begin with. Caitlin Lanksberry at the dish right now. It'll be Lanksberry, Soika, and Clark due up here for the Hawks.
I mean, none of us will ever be that, but I feel like I'm closer. I should be able to get a better James Earl Jones.
Give it to you shortly. That went in for strike 1-1. Moonlight Graham. It's about as good as it gets. It's been a long day here. Pitch probably higher than it normally is.
But we all knew who it was.
And as Matt Folsom points out, full moon now. That one back up the middle, 4-base hit. Lanksberry starts things off nicely for the Hawks in the bottom half of the second inning.
And why not? She's only been torrid this weekend. 414 coming in. 5 home runs, 48 runs batted in.
Oh, no, that's not even the end of the story. 714 on the weekend for Caitlin Lanksberry.
And just got better.
hitting .800 here in the championships. That's swinging a hot stick right there. So Lanksberry at first. Soika, Alyssa Soika at the plate here for SCC. And I have to make sure that I clarify SEC. We have two SECs. Sacramento City College and Santiago Canyon College. Getting much better at saying that, by the way, over the weekend.
Repetition always helps.
Sure.
Soika comes in batting .408 on the season. 2 home runs, 42 runs batted in.
Look no further than Steph Curry's three-point shot. 0-1. Fouled off, and now.
Are you suggesting that if you went out there and got up 1,000 Santiago Canyon colleges a day, that you would be as automatic as Steph Curry?
I think I would. If that was actually physically possible, I'd be a master of saying that school's name. The 0-2 on Soika. Got her swinging. So Soika goes down on strikes. Second strikeout on the weekend for Alyssa.
Just the 8th strikeout and 148 at-bats for Alyssa Soika, so that's a great job by Morgan Jones.
Ashley Clark now the batter. Did she offer? Mr. Folsom, is the rule different if you offer at the pitch? It's same as baseball, right? As far as the strike is called. Okay. It looked like she offered on that last delivery. Well, she offers there, foul tip. 1-1.
Lanksberry, not much of a threat to go. 5 steals on the season.
Well, she's a threat to get on base, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's a threat to steal first.
7 RBIs on the season.
Yeah, on the weekend.
Yeah, for the weekend, she needs a home run for the cycle. One and 2 now on Ashley Clark. Jones delivers. That one outside. Two and 2 now. Clark on the weekend batting .333. Outside. Jones now nibbling on the outer half. Couple of back-to-back off-speed pitches from Jones. Does she go to the heat right here? Or is the third time the charm on the outer half? She goes there, a little bit more heat on it. Force at second in time to get the runner. Lanksberry out at second. Reaching on a fielder's choice is Ashley Clark now at first. And here comes Brittany Howe.
Brittany Howe comes in batting .267 with 2 home runs, 26 runs batted in.
Howe 167 on the weekend. See if she can get going at the dish. Hit and run is on. That one in the dirt. Oh, wow. Scooped up in time by Megan Wells, and caught stealing is Ashley Clark, the player of the North. Harley Donovan showing off the gun on that play. That will do it for inning number 2. We head to the third, 1-0. The Hawks on top of the Bulldogs here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It'll be Riley Wells starting things off here in the top of the third for College of San Mateo. They find themselves trailing 1-0. Mike Cepeda, Matt Folsom, Jeff Stoynoff here on today's coverage of the softball championships here from the Dean Ada Gay Sports Complex on the campus of Bakersfield College. It was a beautiful day. It's a beautiful night. A chilly night. That one over to short. Carranza throws it in the dirt. That one not handled. And moving on to second is Riley Wells on the throwing air.
Mike, that was a throw in an awkward spot for Brittany Howe, and it looked like Howe got a little crossed up whether or not to reach over and try and catch that backhand or slide her hand over to try and catch it more forehand.
Is it a hit and an error or just an error? So it's a two-base error on Carranza. Remember, Carranza was dinged in the leg. You wonder if that had any effect on her range of motion on that play. But sacrifice in play there. Nicely done by Kristen Kawaki. And the runner over to third.
Kawaki with her 6th sacrifice on the season, and she shows an adeptness in bunting to get that one down, so one down now.
Tying run 60 feet away now. That's Riley Wells at third. Here comes the player of the year in Northern California, Harley Donovan. Right over to short. Carranza handles that one well. The inside pitch working like a beauty for Riley Narwold. As she handcuffs Donovan there to record out number 2 here in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, puts a lot of pressure on Caitlin Chang now to try and pick up the runner.
Chang batting .375 on the weekend. Has scored a run. Does have an RBI to her credit here at the softball championships. Narwold taking some of the dirt, using it for some grip. 1-0, that one over to second, handled well by Soika. In time, over to first to Howe, and that will do it. They strand a runner at third. Do the Bulldogs, and the score remains 1-0. We head to the bottom half of the third inning. We'll be back on SoCalCollegeSports.com. So Brittany Howe now at the plate. Remember, Ashley Clark thrown out at second trying to steal. Thrown out by player of the year in the North. Keep on singing her praises, and with just cause. Harley Donovan has been a menace to opposing teams throughout 2016.
And now,
just like she was in 2015, an All-American in the outfield. Sorry there, Jeffrey.
And you talk about the defense, the offense of Harley Donovan, but how about the defense? She's now thrown out 9 of 23 runners trying to steal bases against her as well. So she's done a great job in the field.
1-1 on Howe. Cruising right along here, bottom of the third inning. Slow roller over to short. Wells attacks, charges over to first in time to Davis. Davis reaching for it. Davis, not all that tall, but she seems to have very long arms and does a good job of really allowing herself and allowing the rest of the outfield, or the infield rather, a big target at first base. Krista Carranza now up to bat.
And I think you hit on the key word there, Michael, and that is presenting that big target at first base is what they often look for in that position.
I was a big target at first base. I just couldn't catch the ball.
Well, that's the second thing they look for.
First ball swinging there from Carranza. Slow roller over to third. Samantha Dean playing in. And that is 2 gone. Very efficient inning so far here for Morgan Jones. Bulldogs still trail it by 1 to the Hawks. Game 5 of the championships. Game 3 of the day here from Bakersfield. And Jordan Hicks, top of the order, now up for SCC, Santiago Canyon College. Jones delivers outside, ball 1.
Hicks batting .373, coming into action tonight.
Chopper, short, Carranza. That ball kind of askewed in, or excuse me, Megan Wells making the error for CSM.
Well, I think part of the problem there for Megan Wells is that Jones gets such a good effort on that ball and almost gets it, and that's got to be a little distracting.
Yeah.
I think all that motion looked like she just bobbled it on the second hop.
Matt, was that scored in air?
We're still waiting for word from the official score.
Still waiting for an official score, whether that was an error or a hit. We'll get the result of that to you shortly. As it stands, Hicks at first, 2 outs.
If Jones can get Daniel here, this may not be the worst result for San Mateo. It brings Olegi up to start an inning with the bases empty rather than potentially coming up with runners on. But the key here is Jones needs to complete the job and get Daniel here.
And indeed, it will be an error on Megan Wells. That one in for strike 2 and 1 now on Jessica Daniel. Well, the errors continue to plague CSM, and we will have a tally in total on the weekend for the Bulldogs shortly here, brought to you by Matt Folsom. Outside now, 3 and 1. Well, one of the last things you want to do here is walk Jessica Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. Then now you got Olegi with a couple of runners on. Well, that's as bad a scenario as you can draw up.
I'd be shocked if the bat comes off the shoulder here. You might as well just put the bat in the dugout. 3 and 1 with Olegi on deck. Chopped over to short. Nice play by Wells, but she won't have a play at either first or second. First and second now. 2 gone here in the bottom of the third, and here comes the only run of the game thus far, Emily Olegi.
And that's the speed at the top of the order for Santiago Canyon. Once Wells goes to her knees and takes even an extra moment there, she's got no place she can go with the ball, and everybody's safe.
Jones starts off Olegi with a strike. Olegi went deep in the first. That's where we find ourselves. 1-0. That one outside. By our count, that is the 10th error of the weekend for the Bulldogs. that allowed Hicks to reach. First and second, Hicks on second, Jessica Daniel at first, and it's Emily Alegi ahead in the count, 2-1.
So we're saying it's 11.
So just hearing from our official statistician on the weekend, Andy Wheeler. 11 airs for the Bulldogs here in these championships.
Well, Jones goes way inside on that pitch, and you have to have a sense that that's trying to set something up potentially on Olegi, and maybe Olegi taking a little too much liberty there and getting on top of the plate the way she's swinging the stick.
Yeah, I think if you're Harley Donovan, I think the conversation is 3-1. Don't give her anything to hit. Just walk her.
Yeah, Vigurtsa's been good, but you're much better off taking your chances with Vigurtsa at this point.
Absolutely. And that went outside for a ball, so they are loaded up here for Vigurtsa. And Vigurtsa also swinging a hot bat, 429 coming in on the weekend.
And she had a big 2-out hit in the victory over Cyprus in Game 4.
Looking to up her average right here.
And here's the other thing to consider, Mike. Vigurtsa is very dangerous in this situation, and nobody's hotter than Caitlin Langsbury, who's on deck. So Morgan Jones in all kinds of trouble here and needs to get out of it right now.
That one in, 4-ball, 1-0. Nowhere to put Vigurtsa.
Caitlin Langsbury of the 750 average on the weekend.
Unbelievable. Right back to the pitcher. Morgan Jones swallows it up, and that will do it for the Hawks in the third. Disaster averted for the Bulldogs, and we head to the fourth here on SoCalCollegeSports.com's continuing coverage of the softball championships here from Bakersfield. Scores from earlier today in the world of baseball in the 3C2A variety.
Is it Golden West winning the series over Chaffey? The number 3 seed advances to the championship round, winning the best of 3, 2-0. Cyprus completes the 2-game sweep. That's actually misrepresented there. An 11-10 win over Grossmont in that series. So Cyprus punches their ticket, completes the baseball softball double, reaching the championship round. In the North, Santa Rosa, the number 1 seed overall, also winning that series 2-0, 5-0 over Chabot. And finally, San Joaquin Delta pulls the upset. The number 9 seed dispatches Consumnes River 13-4, and they win that series. So San Joaquin Delta also advancing to the baseball championship.
And speaking of the baseball championships, we will have the finals for you next week here on SoCalCollegeSports.com from Fresno. Looking forward to saying hi to a good buddy of ours, David Silverstein. Statistician.
He'll be there statting it up.
Yeah, he will. He's probably keeping score at home via the broadcast. It wouldn't shock me. He is very thorough. You want to give a shout out to Matt Henson, our graphics director. That one falls in for a hit. It's a leadoff single
Also a shout out to Proctor Silex, reading our trivia questions.
Leadoff single for Christy Peterson. It's Peterson, Samantha Dean, Jordan Davis, the meat of the lineup for CSM. Trying to get back into this one. We're trying to tie it up, possibly take the lead. We've talked about their bats and their ability to put runs on the board in a hurry. Terrific opportunity here. Nobody on. Nobody out, one on to start off the fourth. Samantha Dean showing, but goes foul yet again. So 0-2 now on Samantha.
And Samantha Dean charged with getting the bunt down, and at 0-2 you have to imagine they're going to take the bunt off. And we'll see if the failed sacrifice ends up costing San Mateo.
Well, that inside pitch, such a weapon of Riley Narwold.
Samantha Dean came into action tonight hitting .434 with 5 home runs, and you have to wonder at some point, might it be worth it just to have her swinging away? But Coach Nicole Borg electing to play for one in a 1-0 game.
High heat. It's Peterson. Testing by Gertza by not getting to the bag very quickly. Back to the bag, rather. 1-2. Narwold still ahead. That one goes the opposite way into right field. First and second now, nobody out to start things off here in the top of the fourth for the Bulldogs.
4th hit of the weekend for Samantha Dean, and perhaps a blessing in disguise that they could not get the bunt down as Dean goes the other way with a base hit.
And here comes Jordan Davis. If the name sounds familiar, it should. A bottom of the 7th tying home run to force extras earlier today versus Sacramento City in Game 3. Game 1 of 3 today here in our coverage on SoCal College Sports. That one, she gets under. Over to left, Jordan Hicks under it. Throws to third, nobody advances. One away here in the top of the fourth. Got to bring up Megan Wells.
On every level of baseball or softball, timely hitting so critical to winning. And these two teams today, great examples of both. Santiago Canyon has been so very timely with their hitting, winning Game 4 and getting the lead here in Game 5.
Man.
Meanwhile, for San Mateo, you think back to some of the opportunities they had to get past Sacramento City in Game 3, but couldn't come up with the big hit. And so far tonight, an opportunity or two has slipped by the wayside. Will that end up costing them?
For Narwold, pitch count on the day very high. And you wonder if she loses zip on that inside pitch, that one can be a foul tip strike. 0-2 now on Megan Wells. Hey, you have to wonder at one point if you do try to go inside and somebody catches up to it, that can make you pay.
Well, she's living on the edge, quite literally there. And if she gets it, that's the danger of pitching inside. You get it too far out over the plate.
Oh, if she keeps on living on the edge, SCC going to be living on a prayer shortly. The ability of San Mateo to put runs on the scoreboard.
We're not done working our way through the hairbands here. We've gotten to 2, but
hey, look, it's a triple header, Game 3. We're pretty much working in delirium at this point.
Matt, it's your turn to bring in an 80s hairband.
Well, it's almost midnight hour, Cinderella.
The 1-1. 2-1 now on Megan Wells.
Yeah, if we go too late here, you're going to have to shake me to wake me up.
Is that another reference?
That's a Cinderella song, so just build on Matt's suggestion.
You know a Cinderella song?
Oh yes,
Oh,
certainly I do.
This guy's an 80s jukebox, and that one nearly on the chalk down the left field line. Just go foul. 2-2 now. Narwhal takes her time, deals it, and that one hung up just a little bit. And early on it was Wells yet again.
I'd be interested to know what the thought is in the San Mateo dugout about maybe an adjustment that you can make on that pitch. I mean, Narwhal's going to it over and over and over again. You wonder about maybe taking a half a step back, trying to create a little room, something, because they seem to be missing it the same way every time.
Inside pitch yet again. Narwhal trying to induce the also elusive double play ball. Haven't seen one this weekend, I don't think.
Not too many of the ground ball variety. I think starting because with the infield dirt being the way it is, it's been hard to get a clean ground ball to start one.
That's true. We'll do the 2-2 yet again. 3-2 now. That one outside. So we see Megan Wells choke up on the bat some.
If I'm a San Mateo hitters, maybe I think about even cheating up a little bit in the box, trying to get that ball before it gets too far inside.
That's a good point. Payoff pitch. Inside yet again and foul. Yet again, the ball boy on that side of the field. Burning some calories here today. I'd like to see the Fitbit tracker on that one. So we'll do 3-2 all over again. Chopper back to the mound. Do they get her in time? No, everybody is safe. It's an infield single for Megan Wells.
Good hustle by Wells down that first base line.
Bases loaded, one out. Here comes Ariana Garcia. Garcia, 286 on the weekend, 2 hits. None batted in. She can change that in a hurry right here. I want to say the Hawks thinking about making a change in the circle.
330 batter on the season is Garcia. And it's hard to know. It seems like Narwhal's still pitching pretty well. These aren't really hard hit balls, but you also have to consider fatigue as a factor.
Yeah, I mean, you have to consider not only fatigue, but how about tomorrow? If you do end up winning this game, Narwhal's probably going to be your starting pitcher tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the other pitchers for Santiago Canyon. That would be Shannon Thornton and Lauren Hammond. Lauren Hammond with a short appearance, and then we haven't seen Shannon Thornton at all. And that, of course, raises the question is the possibility that Shannon Thornton is injured? We're not always privy to every roster situation with the team, so we don't know. But Shannon Thornton was 11-0 on the season as well, so she was quite efficient.
Let's ask Matt Folsom here. Matt, do we know about Shannon Thornton? Any injuries to her? 11-0 on the season. Okay, so no word as of an injury. Could be a disciplinary issue while we haven't seen her this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, she has not appeared yet, and Lauren Hammond only pitched 2/3 of an inning. So it would appear, at least assuming that everybody is available, that depth is not going to be a huge problem.
Are they storing an ace in the hole? They might have to bring her out right here. That pitch, not a shocker, inside to start off Garcia. Riley Wells on deck. 1-0. On another inside pitch. Fouled off. 1-1. Hear a lot of living in the kitchen from the crowd here. See if Garcia can cook something up in that kitchen. Fouls that one down the left field line. Foul. 1-2 now. Huge opportunity for the Bulldogs. Only one gone. Top of the fourth, bases loaded. Fouled back. Matt Folsom joins us on the broadcast. How you doing there, Matty?
I'm groovy. I'm really groovy, man. Tired, but hanging in there.
I was just gonna say, did you happen to get a nap? Been here since 7:30.
No. Been here since 7:30.
And you called the sophomore showcase this evening or this morning.
Yeah, have they set up a cot here in the press box for you yet, so that you could just sleep here tonight and be ready for tomorrow?
I thought about doing that. You know, I might have to make a run to the emergency room. They seem to take care of me there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Gets
your
me ready.
first run to the ER here in Bakersfield.
No.
We'll get to that story a little later on in the broadcast.
Maybe tomorrow.
Well, it's either the emergency room or dinner at Taco Bell with the coaches.
Taco Bell with the coaches.
You can't go wrong with either.
At least I didn't go to Hooters last night.
That one handcuffs Garcia over to third, and Lanksberry takes care of it.
Why not?
For out number 2.
What's the problem? It's my understanding that you get free food at Hooters if you go in there late.
That's true. You go there at closing time, you get free food because you get cold food and cheese sticks without the cheese.
They get it wrong 3 times in a row and then give it to you for free.
Really? They don't do that at Denny's.
That's a big out, meanwhile, for Narwhal. With the bases loaded.
Riley Wells now the batter right down Broadway for strike 1.
You know, just have yet to see a bat explosion in this game before San Mateo. And you've been talking about the inside pitches from Narwhal all game long, and that's been the secret. They've gotten the best hitting they've done has been foul territory to the left.
Well, right now, that inside pitch, nobody's had an answer for it, really, from Riley Narwhal. If you think about the matchup, let's talk about the pitcher of the weekend, the player of the weekend, really, this far, Callie Sargent for Sac City. You know, she's done a great job of staying ahead of hitters, and with the ability to have batters foul off that outside pitch or the inside pitch. That one outside, swung on and missed. Strike 3. Narwhal out of a jam. 1-0. The score remains. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Hawks will try to look for some insurance to their lead. Stay tuned. So Riley Narwhal gets out of the jam in the top of the 4th. Bases loaded, only 1 out. She induces a soft pop-up and then strikes it out to end the fourth, and the score remains 1-0, and the Hawks on top of the Bulldogs. Today, so far for the Bulldogs, it's 18 left on base. That's just today, and I want to say that number was pretty high yesterday in their win over these same Hawks. Hawks trying to return the favor in an elimination game. Morgan Jones going to the inside off-speed pitch, 0-2 now. On Caitlin Lanksberry. Lanksberry batting .750 on the weekend here in these championships. That outside, Lanksberry just locked in. Be a nice start to this inning here for Morgan Jones if she can induce the strikeout for Caitlin Lanksberry, who has not struck out on the weekend. The 1-2. Rifled over to third base. Samantha Dean cannot come up with it. And it's a single to start things off, and that'll up the average yet again for Caitlin Lanksberry. What a show this weekend.
Closing in on 800. But Caitlin Langsbury, and once again, I mean, 2 strikes on her, and she holds the discipline, gets the ball up in the zone, turns on it, turns it into another base hit.
And that ball gets smoked over to third. Lanksberry at first. No outs. Alyssa Soika showing bunt, lays down a beauty. Tough play at third. It hits the runner. Runner will be safe at first.
Well, that's a disappointing result for Samantha Dean. She quickly swooped in on that ball, but a little wide on the throw and ends up hitting Soika.
First and third, nobody out, and an opportunity here for the Hawks to extend on their 1-0 lead. This insurance run opportunity brought to you by Bob McCloskey Insurance.
You know, I think as I watched the replay there that what happened is Dean scooped that ball up, but then had to hold the ball for an extra fraction of a second as Jordan Davis was in her throwing path. Took her maybe one more step toward that first base line, and the throw consequently hit Soika. So just a bad break for San Mateo as the timing of the play is thrown off.
So is that Bob McCloskey Insurance time?
This opportunity sponsored. This opportunity for an insurance run.
Bob McCloskey, one of the sponsors of the weekend, along with Nevco, E-Team sponsor, Jostens, and Diamond. Diamond providing a lot of the equipment that you see on the field here today in use for these softball championships. First and third, nobody out for Santiago Canyon College, and it's Ashley Clark at the plate. Wow, they charged an error. That's tough because that was a pretty good bunt.
Meanwhile, if you're Jones, at the very least in this situation here in the fourth inning, you have to try and hold it together, maybe allow the runner from third to get home. That might happen with nobody out, runners at the corners, but try to at least keep this to a 2-run game at the worst.
Clark batting from the left side, wheeling and dealing is Jones. That one bunted foul. You're showing bunt here. You got one strike. I'd be shocked if Morgan Jones didn't go to the high heat here. As Matt Folsom, you pointed out earlier today, very hard to bunt that high heat.
Yeah, especially a high and inside is the rule of thumb in a bunting situation. The hardest pitch to get down.
And indeed, it's high and outside. Bit of a pitch out there, looked like. 2-1 now.
So I was talking to Nicole Borg after the last game, and she mentioned the errors that they had in that five errors, and she said that she's just appalled. She's just stunned that they would have that many errors.
This one laid down right back to Jones. It will move over the run or move across the run. Second run of the game now scored here, 2-0.
It's a nice job on the squeeze.
The Hawks on top of the Bulldogs, and 11 errors on the weekend. And errors will doom you every time, and just an unfortunate set of circumstances here. You know, it's a neutral field. You're not used to playing on this field. San Mateo usually very good in the field. Have not been this weekend. And we've talked about the rough terrain. You know, this is a very choppy field, and it is shown not just for San Mateo, but really for all teams involved.
Well, and don't underestimate the fact that San Mateo plays on an artificial turf surface, and the bounces are truer. The ball is faster, but the bounces are truer. And you look at the number of teams in that conference that have artificial turf, the majority of them do. So it's an artificial turf conference, and that's what they're used to.
So only one away here in the bottom of the fourth.
Are they trying to bring back baseball circa Major League Baseball circa about 1983?
Yeah.
Or so, with the return to AstroTurf throughout the conference?
That's it, and they're getting all concrete bowls.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that come back.
Double knit uniforms.
Let's get a little speed ball going. Get some speed back in the game.
Brittany Howe, the batter, takes it high for a ball. 3-1 now.
Of course, that AstroTurf at that time was just concrete with a little bit of
paint.
Well,
yeah.
Let's not pretend here. We go to these community colleges, these lovely community colleges, and what do you see a lot of everywhere? Concrete.
Concrete.
It's no accident. Plenty of concrete. They're halfway there.
It's a renewable resource, is it not?
It really is. Brittany Howe ahead of the count, 3-1. Soika at second. That one low for ball 4. And Jones trying to gut it out here.
I think a lot of things happened in that epic 10-inning game. I think physically the play, it wasn't a 1-0 game. It was, what was it, 7-6, 8-7?
7-6.
A lot of action going on.
Yeah.
So physically, it was draining. Mentally, though, I think it's even more draining.
Yeah, I mean, 5-3, they led it with 2 outs in the 7th inning. I mean, they're 1 out away.
Yeah. 1 out away.
From relaxing at the hotel and getting ready for tomorrow, needing to win just 1 more. And if you don't have a little bit of a hangover from that, it's just hard to imagine. The players are only human, and they have to be thinking about it a little bit.
Fortunately for the Bulldogs, there's a lot of softball left to play tonight.
Yeah.
That one outside, 1-1 now the count. On Krista Carranza. Shortstop here for the Hawks. Dean playing in. Carranza offers it that one, takes a strike, 1-2 now.
A lot of good bunting happening this weekend, huh?
The 1-2. Bunt laid down. It's a good one. Dean fires over to first in time. Runners move over. Second and third now, 2 outs.
It's a big opportunity for Jordan Hicks, who's been quiet this weekend. But a hitter as good as Jordan Hicks, it's only a matter of time before she's going to break through. And
talk about Jordan Hicks on the season, batting .373. Those numbers higher coming in.
Got a pinch hitter coming to the plate.
Are they going to pinch hit?
I believe that's
Is it 18?
18, yeah. Christine Woodling, freshman.
Well, Woodling has appeared as a pinch hitter in each of the 2 games so far, so not a big surprise. This is the first bat that Lisa Camargo goes to off the bench.
Big opportunity here to pad that lead, leading 2-0. That one in for a strike there from Morgan Jones. And you have to garner as many runs as possible. There's a bagel up there in the scoring column for San Mateo, but very potent offensive lineup for the Bulldogs. No lead is safe. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Hawks looking to add to their lead of 2-0. Christine Woodling, a big opportunity here for the freshman. Jessica Daniel on deck. First base is open. The 1-1 outside. Two and one now. That one on the outer half.
That's a great pitch from Jones.
That is
a little bit of break on that ball, and she just painted the outside corner.
Just right on the barrier. So 2-2 evens things up. Jones delivers back to the pitcher. Jones reacts in time and records out number 3. 2 left on for the Hawks. We head to the top of the 5th inning, and San Mateo will try to respond. We'll be back. Top of the 5th inning, 2-0. The Hawks on top of the Bulldogs on SoCalCollegeSports.com's continuing coverage of the softball championships here from Bakersfield College. Mike Cepeda, Jeff Stoynoff, Matt Folsom with you here on the weekend's coverage. And gentlemen, I did want to commend the umpiring so far here tonight. The strike zone has been pretty good here. It's something that we have not seen throughout the weekend. This has been, I think, the best strike zone that we've seen as far as consistency goes.
I would agree with that. I think there was a lot of questioning about it last game.
There was a lot to be desired in terms of consistency in Game 3 earlier today. I think the Bulldogs would agree with that assessment. That one over down to third. Lanksberry up with it in time for out number 1.
Lanksberry having an MVP-type campaign here in Bakersfield.
She really is. I mean, the MVP right now has to be Callie Sargent running away with it. Even in a loss, I mean, do you maybe give her the Jerry West treatment?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, yeah, because Callie Sargent, as dominating as she was on Friday night, it was a struggle for a lot of today. And as a team, they were able to pull out the win and kind of pull her out of the fire there a little bit. But Callie Sargent obviously is a strong candidate at this point, but she was less than dominating earlier today.
They did touch her for 5 runs.
They
in the
did.
first 2 innings.
She gutted it out, though.
Yeah, she came back and was able and gave up the home run. And you got to give her a lot of credit after that, the way she held it together and closed it out. She was in trouble in the next inning after the home run and could have let that game get away. But what a job she did getting Dean and Davis back-to-back to get out of that jam and prolong that game.
Well, she gets a full day rest, pretty much. Leading into tomorrow, well, almost a full day's rest. Harley Donovan, the player of the year in the North, now up, chops it foul.
If Sargent's watching right now, you need to turn off your device, whatever it is, and go to bed. Get some sleep, have a good breakfast in the morning, come to the stadium.
At the very least, just catch up on this season of Game of Thrones.
Well, you can't, well that's true.
And really, and just relax and just get ready
catch
for
up for tomorrow night's episode. The 1-2 here on Donovan. That one fouled back. Donovan barely missing that one. She knew that was a pitch that she could have driven.
She struggled the last 5 at-bats, the last 2 at-bats in the earlier game today and the first 3 here. Sargent got her in a huge strikeout in the 8th.
She really did. That one chopped slowly back to the pitcher. Narwhal takes care of it for the second out here in the top of the 5th.
And there's a slight adjustment now for Narwhal over the last inning or so. She's starting to go back to the outside corner. Seems to have set up the hitters very well, working that inside part of the plate and off the inside part of the plate. Now she has them completely off balance as she goes back outside.
Doesn't garner a ton of Ks, but she is very effective in her approach. That one laced in right field for a base hit. It's Caitlin Chang. Chang having a nice weekend, comes into today, or into game 5, batting .375. Is that her second hit tonight?
No, I have her 1 for 3. She grounded back to the box in the first and grounded out to second in the third.
Hitting a little bit below .375 then, coming into that at-bat. She's at first right now, 2 gone.
364 for the weekend now.
Instant stats.
Mathematician Jeff Stoynoff in the broadcast booth this weekend.
Yeah,
as always for SoCalCollegeSports.com. Just a stud.
I just need Matt to tell me what they've done tonight. I can take it from there. Well,
this is like Rain Man in the booth here.
This is a.
Well, if he is, I'm going to Vegas.
There's a little bit.
Or the local casino.
Well, there's a theme here to keep in mind. That is that we've seen an awful lot of ebb and flow to these games, a lot of comebacks, and Narwhal is really cruising. But, you know, a hit here, a hit there. Here's another hard hit ball.
Lanksberry comes up with it for out number 3. That does it for the Bulldogs in the 5th. We hit the bottom half. Still 2-0. The Hawks on top of the Bulldogs on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Bottom of the 5th inning, 2-0. Hawks still on top of the Bulldogs. Mike Cepeda, Matt Folsom, Jeff Stoynoff with you on today's coverage. Matt Henson, technical direction and graphics producer. And on camera, on top of the broadcast booth, Jorge Cepeda. The full crew here at SoCal College Sports.
We never bring anything less.
Not after last year. What a success it was at Fresno, and we will not be doing so unless otherwise forced.
We're sticking with the same lineup.
Yeah, our lineup is sure. Jorge Cepeda, the hand of God, our Mariano Rivera, the closer. Jessica Daniel at the plate. On
The
deck.
speedy one.
Heart of the order coming up.
Yeah. Emily Olegui, that one off of the plate. Foul.
She had 3 stolen bases last game, did she not?
Mm-hmm.
I seem to remember a blur running from first to second more than once.
Do you watch The Flash?
They may as well. They may as well have just awarded her second base.
Yeah, just go ahead and take it. I'm going to save our arms.
Wonder if Jessica Daniel runs track. It's possible. Is it possible? The 1-1. That one called strike over the outer portion of the play. So 1-2 now. Morgan Jones is ahead. This is a very key out here for the Bulldogs. The leggy coming up. That one in the dirt. Ball 2.
We just have a weather report from the San Mateo fans.
And it's starting to get very cold out here. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Daniel goes down via the K. So an impressive start to the bottom of the 5th inning here for Morgan Jones. Here comes Emily Olegui. Olegui went deep to start things off for the Hawks in inning number 1.
3rd K for Morgan Jones tonight.
And Olegui right now stands to get the old school game-winning RBI. If they can finish this one off, it was the first inning bomb that gave them the lead that they have not relinquished.
First K of the weekend for Daniel. Olegui, Vigurza, Lanksberry after that, if necessary. The 1-0, swung on and missed. Morgan Jones takes a little off of it.
Talk about the difference between Olegui and Harley Donovan this weekend, and I think part of the success goes to Vigurza and Lanksberry behind Olegui, and the job that they've done, and it's given Olegui some better pitches to hit. And she hasn't missed them, to her credit.
No, not too often.
But it shows the importance of that. Your positioning in the lineup and how the team is overall hitting behind you can make such a difference in the types of pitches that you're going to see, even as a great hitter, as 2 of the very best hitters in California.
Yeah, it's Caitlin Chain, Christy Peterson hitting behind. That one rifled
Frozen
into
rope.
left center. It's a rope to the gap, but it was hit so hard it comes off the wall in a hurry. League's going to have to stay at first, so it's a very hard hit single.
Yeah, that was a Green Monster special, one that was hit
It
there
really
off
was.
the wall and just a long single. But
It was a Forest Green Monster special.
that was an absolute laser
You could
off the
hear it.
bat of Olegui, though. I mean, she gets any more elevation on that one, and that's gone. I mean, there's no question that it had the power to get out. She just didn't quite get it high enough.
Well, Vigurza hitting over 400 on the weekend. Lanksberry now on deck.
Oh, a pinch runner. And it'll be Riley Narwhal.
Now, Olegui looks to be hobbling a little bit. Noticing a hitch in her giddy up.
I mean, maybe she finally turned her ankle ripping one of those balls.
It's just incredible. I mean, the power has been very, very impressive.
And Narwhal running at first base for Olegui.
Narwhal stats this season, stolen base-wise?
Well, let's see what we can find here. Well, she's not listed among the hitters, so she probably doesn't have an at-bat. And so we don't know to what degree she's a threat to go.
She's a threat to go.
Judging by the general ethos of the team,
Yeah,
you would think.
Exactly.
Just about anyone there.
You know, I mean, you said it on day one here, Matt. The Hawks like to run. They're very aggressive on the base pass. Here's the 1-0 outside. Jones.
You just look at her demeanor over there. She's athletic. She's wiry. She's quick on the pitching surface.
And even technically, if she's not a threat to go, she's posing as a threat to go, which can get into the head of the pitcher and change the dynamic of any given at bat. Morgan Jones deals the 2-0. That one in for. Oh, wow. That looked like that was a strike. Maybe the first missed non-call behind the plate today here in Game 5. Folsom, that looked pretty good.
It looked pretty good to me. I'm right behind the
3-0. That one called strike. Manoa Vigertse. I had 3-1. You keep the bat on the shoulder. That one high. First and second, only one out, and another opportunity for the Hawks to add to their 2-0 lead.
And just the hitter that you want up there if you're Santiago Canyon.
Caitlin Linksbury.
Is she perfect on the night tonight?
Yeah. 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Double to lead off inning number 2 and a single run scored in the 4th.
Surprised she's not batting 1,000 for the weekend.
What is she batting for the weekend? What's she up to
7
now?
for 9.
750?
778.
778. Thank you. Thank you for
.137. 6'5". 2-1.
Only the third number is relevant. Significant decimal point. It's going to make an S. Ventura reference there. First and second, one out. Linksbury. Up, and it hit her. Wow.
Well, it's
That
one way to keep her from getting another hit.
Well, now you load them up. Only one out here. No ill intent there. Morgan Jones wanting to establish at the plate. Are we going to get a warning? Or is that going to do it for Morgan Jones?
Linksbury hit on the pitch for the 3rd time this season.
Well, let's hold off on taking it out for just a second here. Lengthy conversation on the mound. Matt, what are they talking about here?
You know, this is a point where I think Nicole Borg is talking about, you know what? It's getting late in this game. It's the 5th inning. We really need to pull it together to accomplish the goal that we established before the season even began. I think she's at that point where she's really trying to pull at the heartstrings rather than talking strategy, rather than trying to calm anybody down, trying to motivate them.
Samantha Dean likely the next pitcher up. She's at 3rd right now, but Morgan Jones will try to gut this one out. One gone, bottom of the 5th, bases loaded. And Alyssa Soika at the plate here for the Hawks of Santiago Canyon.
You know, you look at the fan base, the Bulldog Nation, the Dog Pound. You know, in that first game and all weekend long, they had just been pounding, rocking the stadium, making lots of noise. That Sacramento City game took them out of the game too.
Yeah.
Chopped over to short, not an easy play. They come home. Do they get the out? They do. Megan Wells, what a play. Saves a run to be sure. Narwold thrown out at home, the pitch runner. And Megan Wells, no botching that play. And you talked about the fielding coming in. Did not betray them on that one.
That was huge. That keeps it manageable at 2-0.
Keeps the floodgates from going bonkers here in the bottom of the 5th.
But that makes this such a very critical hitter.
That one over to third. This is going to be a fair ball. This will score a run. Everybody is safe. That was Ashley Clark on the first pitch with an RBI infield single. Makes it 3-0. Here comes Brittany Howe for the Hawks. Still bases loaded. That one low for ball one.
You know, the third baseman, Dean, was ill-advised to try to get rid of the ball. She should have just gone for it herself, just taken a dive over with the ball, stepped on it. Of course, in the heat of action, you're not necessarily looking at all the options.
Swing and a miss. Pulling the string is Morgan Jones. She's ahead. Check that 1-1 now. On Brittany Howe, Carranza on deck. 2 gone here, bottom of the third, or bottom of the fifth rather. 3-0. That a called strike, so 1-2 now on Brittany Howe.
Four, 5, 6 hitters coming up for the Bulldogs in the top of the sixth.
That one in the dirt. That's a great block there by the State's Player of the Year in the North, Harley Donovan. Count even now, 2-2. Howe stays alive. Hour and a half gone here. This game started at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Game 3 of our triple header here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Game 6 tomorrow at high noon. Sacramento City awaits the winner of this one. That one into center field, going to score 1, maybe 2. It'll be 2. It's a 2-out RBI, 2 RBI single for Brittany Howe.
Well, it's the story of this Saturday here in the CCCAA Championships. Another big 2-out hit. Back-to-back 2-out hits to really break this one open.
The power of the 2-out rally has been the theme, one of the themes, here this weekend.
You know, it'll be interesting to do some research and try to figure out how many times in all these games this weekend 2-out rallies have happened.
Yeah. Well, Santiago Canyon, who missed a couple of opportunities in the loss on Friday, and they have not missed any here tonight. In back-to-back, in what's looking like it could be back-to-back wins. They took care of Game 4, and now they have a commanding lead.
It looks like we have a pinch hitter. Lauren Hammond,
who was warming up in the bullpen last game.
Yeah, Lauren Hammond, the second pitcher.
That one called strike 1. Hammond behind 0-1. Here it comes from Jones. That one inside, called strike 2. So Jones works ahead of Hammond, and now a strike away of getting out of the inning. Damage has been done already. 3 runs across here in the bottom of the 5th. That one in the dirt.
Harley Donovan is going to sleep well tonight, wake up sore tomorrow.
She
has really worked hard behind the plate.
Got her money's worth, that's for sure. Jordan Hicks on deck. Jones delivers. Ball 2. That looked like the same pitch that was called strike 1. And Donovan will have a conversation with Morgan Jones here. First and second, 2 gone.
You know, I want to finish up a point about Harley Donovan. You know, she played in the outfield last year. She's moved behind the plate. Today, she was named the catcher of the year in the state of California. She received that award. First time they've ever had that award. That's a pretty major accomplishment.
One chopped foul, 2-2. Count remains.
For someone who split time between right field and third base.
I'm trying to
last
think.
year.
I'm trying to think of someone, and it would be so very rare, but someone who's actually transitioned from another position to catcher,
Which is one of the toughest play
at the major
positions.
league level, and I can't think of anyone that's. There are some who have started there and moved to other positions, but not the other way around.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I mean, you see a lot of, Buster Posey moving over to first. Same thing with Mike Piazza.
Yeah. Craig Biggio.
A
lot of guys late in their career as well. Carlton Fisk
And
started playing
that's
some other positions.
obviously
but moving that
to save the knees, yeah.
To move to catcher, I don't know that that's really ever.
It's
And this would be a lot before that level, but
It's technically so demanding.
3-2, got her swinging. But the damage done here in the bottom of the 5th. Now 5-0. The Hawks on top of the Bulldogs. You are watching the softball finals here from Bakersfield on SoCal College Sports.
Top of the 6th inning here in Game 5, elimination game number 2 here on Saturday. And Santiago Canyon closing in. They lead it 5-0. Samantha Dean set to lead things off. San Mateo down to their final 6 outs, and Riley Narwhal is cruising. Tries inside again and misses.
Just missed the batter with that.
Quickly 2 balls and no strikes. Samantha Dean, who's had a quiet night at the plate. How has Samantha Dean done tonight? I
Got her 2 for 2.
Well, there you go. Quietly. Quiet assassin, I guess. Loop toward right, closing in, but misplayed by Ashley Clark. Dean running hard all the way into second. We'll wait and see how they score that. Clark was closing, and she got there. But lost that one off her knee really as much as anything, and Dean into second.
I'm going E9 all the way on that one.
I think you're right, Matt.
And it is. Andrew Wheeler, the official score, says E9. That's now the 300th error this weekend for all 4 teams.
Well, that is a special milestone in baseball. Jordan Davis steps in and swings at the first offering and grounds it foul. So Samantha Dean has reached all 3 times, this time on an error. But at this point, the Bulldogs will take it. Trailing 5-0, they need some base runners. Trying to make something happen late.
They got to just chip away a hit at a time, a base runner at a time.
Narwhal rocks and delivers. Off-speed pitch. Missing high. Count evened up. 1 ball, 1 strike. How has Davis done on the evening?
Davis she walked in the second, flew to left in the third, in the fourth.
0 for 1, and again tries to turn on that inside pitch from Narwhal and just chops it foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is getting to be a little bit like a Mariano Rivera-esque type of situation here for Riley Narwhal, in that she's kind of going with 1 pitch over and over again, and it's just so effective. And it doesn't seem that the San Mateo batters have any answer.
There's
again on the
one.
inside and again fouled away.
I mean, if you watch this game tonight, you've seen it as much as we have, that those pitches on the inside have resulted in foul ball after foul ball.
It's the
down the third base line.
the softball version of the cut fastball. And Davis, meanwhile, down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Not sure what Coach Borg is talking to the home plate umpire about.
So Davis taking some time. And now will get herself ready. Narwhal swiping at the dirt, and now she's ready to go. Here's the 1-2. High pop back this way. Heading toward the box. So the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Samantha Dean at second, reaching on an error.
I have a souvenir.
So that you didn't even have to go down the left field line to get one.
San Mateo fan handing it to me. I know I have to walk all the way down there to the third base side of the stadium and put it in the little ball receptacle.
So the count now 2-2 on Jordan Davis.
2-2, nobody out. Runner on second, that's Samantha Dean. Can the Bulldogs rally here? They can use it.
Another one right back. Oh.
Right back off of the screen.
How did it do that?
One.
Oh, here it is.
She's changed the target yet again. I believe Narwhal now going with a little bit of the high heat, changing the eye level. We have a souvenir here in the press box.
It's a diamond.
Wow, that one barely misses high. 3-2, the count now full.
Squeezing her like Stan Belinda in 1992.
Wow.
NLCS.
Three-two, chop, foul. Oh no, they're going to say that's still in play. Looks like that might have been out of play. Instead, they will rule that was in play. Davis not there in time, so that is out number 1.
Another steady play by Langsbury at third.
Langsbury's been.
I tell you, she went. If Santiago continues on to Championship Sunday and they win tomorrow, she's the MVP.
I don't think there's any question about it. If they can.
It's not even close, I don't think, at this point.
Well, Olegi's had a fantastic run as well with a couple of home runs, but
she's not been as
steady,
dominant in the field.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now you can see in front
that's
of us
because
our
I don't think
former
she's been in the
softball
fold.
players.
Yeah.
Well,
Remember the cheers.
and by all accounts, if it goes the way it has, if Santiago Canyon were to come back and win this championship, and that's a long way off, why not Riley Narwhal? Because the way it looks right now, she'd probably have 4 wins on the weekend.
Definitely the pitcher of the series. But yeah, it's a long way off.
It doesn't appear like they have any interest in going with anybody else.
Yeah.
She can go both games tonight.
And she'll go both games tomorrow.
As will Callie Sargent. You have to like the chances of Sac City with the performance she's had really throughout the season here in 2016. The 1-1, back up the middle. Narwhal
Terrific defense.
stabs at it, for out number 2. Runner does move over.
I mean, she's falling off slightly to her right there and then reaches back. It's not like she's blocking that with her body and then recovering and getting. She's just stabbing that right out of the air, leaning the other way. It's just a tremendously athletic play.
She's probably one hell of a ping pong player, too.
Well, we'll see if she can handle your serve, okay? Because not too many people can, okay?
Unless they're, a trained professional. Even then. Once you get used to it, though, I'm very mediocre. Very average. So Garcia now the batter with a runner at third. This one popped up.
To the left.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be a smart move at some point to start positioning a fielder over in foul territory? Like on the other side of the fence, you could start getting some outs for these foul balls. We call that the Riley Narwhal shift.
What kind of adjustment do you make
against
the pitch? Like you move up in the box?
I guess to try and take away a little time is it seems to be tailing inside.
Here's another one.
The 0-2 inside yet again, and it's fouled off yet again from Narwhal.
I think there's another aspect to it as well, which is that it's a bit of a changeup on the inside, too. It doesn't have quite the same pace. It doesn't have a lot of heat on it, and I think it's very difficult to stay back on it, is clearly what we're seeing as well, and they're out in front and just pulling it foul.
But if you let it get through, it seems to be getting called a strike.
Yeah.
She goes outside that trying to get Garcia to chase. She does not. Good discipline at the dish by Ariana Garcia. 1-2 now. Very disciplined with that high heat, too. Have the Bulldogs inside yet again. Keep throwing it until you hit it.
Well, at this point, she just seems to know if she can stay off that plate on the inside, there's just nothing that the Bulldog hitters can do with it.
They have not proven to be able to hit that pitch. And if they lose, that's going to be the reason, the main reason today.
Oh, it really froze her there with that pitch.
Really, that was at the mercy of the ump, and the ump ruled in favor of Garcia. So 2-2 now the count. Pocket deuces in the count for Garcia.
It's a set of twos.
It is a set of deuces. 2-2, 2 outs. Top of the 6th. Well played, Jeff.
I got you covered there.
Oh, I know it.
What do you know? Another foul to the left.
Seems familiar.
Deja vu all over again.
On that one, fouled off nicely by Garcia, who just does stay alive.
It went in a different direction, yes, as Matt Henson says.
Let's just hope it stays away from the camera. We have lost a camera here in the history of SoCalCollegeSports.com. Up at baseball in Fresno 2 years ago. The 2-2. Outside, good eye there from Garcia. See if they can spring a 2-out rally here to muster something on the board.
It's almost midnight, guys.
Almost 3 o'clock on the East Coast.
What time is it in China? That's my question.
It's every time in China. It's a huge country.
It really is.
You don't even, as a play-by-play guy, need to say foul down the left field line, foul down the third base line.
That one into center field. First run of the night here in Game 5. It's Dean across the dish, 5-1. It's a great piece of hitting there from Ariana Garcia.
Well, you start with 1. If you're San Mateo, 4 outs left here in this game, but that's a big run to pick up and at least give yourself a little bit of a start toward the goal.
Well, anything for the morale. We've talked about the morale having been sapped after that just unbelievable battle earlier today with Sacramento City. the victory for the Panthers.
There's one word for that loss: excruciating.
Oh. I mean, that is a shotgun to the sternum. One that just takes out all of the air from your sails as a program coming into the weekend. Just aspirations galore. You're in the winner's bracket on day 2, up 5-3, 1 out away. That one down the right field line. This might be 2. The runner falls down. Garcia fell down. She's going to be safe at third.
I think she was only going to get to third anyway, as that one was cut off by Ashley Clark.
But what a terrible feeling for her to be down there. She's looking, I can't get up. I can't get falling and I can't get up.
That's like one of those dreams where you're fighting somebody but you can't hit them.
Yeah.
First and third, though, now. 2 gone. And yet, are we going to see another 2-out rally here on the weekend?
Well, Narwhal got the last couple of pitches up in the zone. They'll talk it over once again.
You know, do you get to the point where you talk about a snake bit San Mateo program, one of the best programs in the state of California? They've been here 4 years in a row. Would have been 5 if Sierra hadn't mounted a come-from-behind super regional win with 2 down, bases loaded, 2 strikes, and a triple that scored clean the bases, and they win it.
Huge out right here for Riley Narwhal. That one over to short, and making the play, Krista Carranza.
Helps to have a good defense behind you.
They do get one across, though, do the Bulldogs. They still trail it by 4. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. 5-1, the Hawks on top of CSM. Stay tuned. That a new pitcher? No. Morgan Jones still in the circle for the Bulldogs. They trail it by 4. They need a quick 3 outs, and they need to get back to the plate and hurry. Or is that just wishful thinking for us? Quick conference to start off things here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Well, you're probably looking at about a 17-hour day here at the championships here on Saturday. It's going all the way back to the sophomore showcase this morning. So
that seems like yesterday.
It's been a long day for a few people here working this event. Lots of excitement, terrific softball, but
I did get
pretty lengthy day.
That's true. I did get a pull workout in this morning, if that counts.
For some of us, it does.
That called strike.
I did get my oatmeal this morning before I came, which is important.
Gotta get that roughage. Hicks your batter, that one in the dirt from Morgan Jones. Harley Donovan continues to shine behind the plate. One and one on Hicks. Hicks lifts that one to center field. Kawaki on her horse has it for out number 1. Nice play made in center field.
Yeah, that one held up in the air just long enough, and Kawaki tracked it down.
Almost looked like it popped. It was about to pop out.
Yeah, she snow-coned it a bit.
Yeah.
So one gone here. Bring up Jessica Daniel.
The speedy one.
Three stolen bases earlier today. That one a called strike over the outside part of the plate. 0-1. Emily Olegi waiting on deck. And why was that such an important out at the end of the bottom of the fifth?
Why was it?
Or at the top of the sixth? Well, CSM, Harley Donovan. I almost called her Haley. Harley Donovan on deck. If they don't get Kawaki, could have been a lot of trouble.
Could have been.
Yeah, it's so very critical. You see it at every level. You have to know who you're pitching to, who's on deck, what the situation is, who you want to face, and who you don't want to face in certain situations.
It's a game of situations, to be sure. Situation right now is 1-2 on Daniel. That one in the dirt. 2-2.
That one about 6 feet in front of the plate.
Yeah.
Forgot what that thing was called. It's been a long time.
Huh.
The 2-2. Here it comes from Jones. Swing. And a miss. Daniel will go to first, and she will reach.
Lack of communication on the Bulldogs' part there, not telling Harley Donovan where it was, or if they did, if she was unable to pick it up.
Daniel reaching every which way. She reached an error, drop third strike, walk, base hit. Anything to get you to first.
Does that count as an out?
No.
Okay.
Counts as a strikeout, a K.
Okay. Counts as a K.
It does allow
That
a
is an
pitcher
out.
to tie one of the rare records of having 4 strikeouts in an inning.
It does.
So I don't believe there's ever been 5 strikeouts in an inning. Though you would think, some you would have thought maybe some knuckleball or something would have,
yeah, Gaylord Perry
might have done it at some point in their career. But I believe 4 is the record. Still,
Is Candiotti on the list?
the problem with those guys, they don't tend to strike out that many batters either. Charlie Huff,
Gaylord Perry, Hoyt, Wilhelm.
yeah, Phil Negro, Joe Negro.
It's the leader in the state for home runs on the season. Emily Olegi at the plate for the Hawks.
She's up by 2 now on Donovan, is she not?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think.
19 on the Ute.
First time in a long time. There hasn't been a 20 home run hitter in the state of California. I can't remember the last time.
Olegi is knocking on the door for that number. DH today. Daniel at first. You have to be wary of the speed of Daniel at first base.
And beware the arm of Harley Donovan behind the plate.
I want to say she's thrown out 2 runners on the weekend.
At least 2, because she's thrown out 1 in this game.
She's
I know
allowed
she
2
threw out
steals.
1 in the opener as well.
That was in the opener. I want to say one of those came to Daniel. Could be wrong on that. Daniel with 3 earlier today. 3-1 on Olegi, and they're probably just going to walk her. Indeed, that will be the case. Ball 4. Olegi on.
It's officially Championship Sunday.
Yeah, that's it. We made it.
It is Championship Sunday. But the last game of our triple header coverage here on SoCal College Sports.
one team on Championship Sunday already asleep, waiting for the winner of this game.
If not, they're probably watching the broadcast.
That's Sacramento City College. Coaches are. Players better be in bed. Bed check was 11 o'clock.
I wonder if they have a cell phone monitor.
I'm sure they do. Turn those things in.
No way.
They do.
No way.
I know a lot of teams that turn their cell phones in.
Well,
One of them I happen to be a part of.
Jordan Hicks was caught stealing in game 1
Gotcha.
for Santiago Canyon.
Well, I know a lot of people who have 2 cell phones.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You can get around that.
It's true.
You guys always giving people such bad ideas.
By Gertza, yeah.
Troublemakers.
Somebody just hit up the local Metro PCS store, or might tomorrow.
Or one of those companies saying, hey, you know what? We should market ourselves to softball and baseball teams.
Yeah, we just created
can
another
sell 2
target market.
phones.
Yeah, there you go. Are you a student athlete?
Yeah, for when that bed check is just too early.
It's a great marketing campaign starting off. 1-1 now. Called strike. Looking on Vi Gertza. Bottom of the 6th. 5-1. Santiago Canyon College on top of the number 1 seed in the north, College of San Mateo. That one in the right field, 4-base hit. Bobbling it shortly is Wells. Play at the plate. Donovan holds on for out number 2. Harley Donovan doing her best Dottie Henson imitation at the plate.
Wow. Only she held the ball.
Only she held the ball.
And she was not going to be moved. She did not.
It's like running into a brick wall.
Daniel ran into her full speed and just bounced off her.
It's like trying to make Shaq take a charge.
He's an MBA. I saw in a commercial.
Called strike 1. On Lakesbury. Lakesbury, the hot bat on the weekend for the Hawks, batting near 800.
You know, these 4 batters make a great law firm. Oleggy, White Gertza, Langsbury, and Soika.
What's their practice? What's their specialty? One.
Concussion law.
Concussion law. A concussion firm. 1-1 now.
I thought we were going to start talking about insurance law and just transfer,
There you go.
segue over to Bob McCloskey.
You know, you missed
Been
your opportunity.
Been really the theme for the weekend.
And you have first base open. You have maybe the hottest bat in the tournament at the plate right now. First base open. Why not just walk her? Don't let her beat you. Inside pitch fouled. 1-2, and Jones is going to say, let's just see if we can get to the dish. Strikeout right here. So she has 2 strikeouts today. Is that correct? Three strikeouts on the night for Morgan Jones. Would love a 4th right here to get out of the 6th.
I guess I could have verbalized that.
That's all right. That was a very good pitch there from Jones, and Langsbury barely stays alive, gets a piece of it. Soika on deck. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. The Hawks trying to add to a 4-run lead here. Bottom of the 6th.
Looking for some McCloskeys.
Insurance fund, is that what we're going to call him now?
Yeah,
Back up the
McCloskeys.
middle. Wells has it in time.
Bobble
She
it.
bobbled it. Davis bobbled it at first. Everybody safe. Another run across here for the Hawks. Now a 5-run lead. And another air. The 12th of the championship tournament here up in Bakersfield for CSM. Soika now the batter. Jones inside. Well, an excruciating loss earlier today versus Sac City. Awaiting the winner of this one for CSM. And an excruciating end to the weekend, possibly. Wells over to first in time. Davis does not bobble that one in time for the out in the end of the sixth. One more run across the plate, 6-1. The Hawks with a hammerlock on this one, and they are 3 outs away to Championship Sunday to take on the Panthers. We'll be back. Well, in a rematch of day one, College of San Mateo won 8-6 on top of Santiago Canyon College. CSM 42-4 on the year, but down 5 runs, looking to keep their season alive, and it has been really an effort of futility here up at Bakersfield for the Bulldogs.
Harley Donovan stepping to the plate. You know, do you start thinking of the Bulldogs championship caliber softball year after year? Are they the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings of community college softball?
It's a very good point that you bring up, and the way it pans out, I mean, it just seems like that might be the case. Very apt comparison. First pitch swinging, tough ball over for Carranza. She handles it well, throws out the speedy Donovan for out number 1. The Hawks 2 away.
To that point, I think there's so much randomness when you reach a Final Four. And I think of Duke under Mike Krzyzewski, and they had several failures. They had a few failures in a row in the Final Four where they just kept on reaching the Final Four and then seemingly playing kind of a bad game at the worst possible time or running into a hot opponent. So many things can go wrong in this type of situation where there's so little margin for error that, you know, I think all of those teams are apt comparisons, but also there's just a lot of luck involved, and it just hasn't seemed to be the right time for them yet. But then much like the case of Duke as opposed to Buffalo or Minnesota in football, then all of a sudden you break through and you win a couple or you win a few, and it could very easily happen for a program like this as well. Yep. That seems to be able to stockpile good athletes and good softball players year after year, and after a while the numbers just take hold and you stop getting the bad luck and you find your way through.
Well, sooner or later you win unless you're Buffalo or Minnesota.
Right.
I mean, it happened to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, sure. Denver, good example, and they finally. So the suggestion here is that really at this point what San Mateo needs to break through is a good running game, because it's
So what is that? I mean, do the Browns have any hope?
No,
okay,
the Browns,
okay. So the Browns are the exception to the numbers rule.
You know, it's going to get to the point where there's only one team that's never been to a Super Bowl, the Cleveland Browns.
6-1. That one in 2 left, 10 to right field for a base hit. Should be ruled a hit. Could be an error. They've been pretty strict this weekend.
Went off of Howe and then.
Oh, it's going to be a tough play either way.
Off of Soika after that.
Batting second in the lineup. She is speedy on the base pads.
So they call it a single.
Indeed, it will be called a single. And here comes Christy Peterson. That one on the outside half. Called ball.
Sixth hit of the game for the Bulldogs.
Narwhal has been stingy. That one popped up to center.
1 out away.
Daniel moving in to make that catch.
Jessica Daniel puts it away. Remember, she had a fantastic play earlier in this ball game to get Samantha Dean, I believe.
Yeah, at second base. What a tremendous job.
I want to say that was back in the first. Inside, called strike one. Samantha Dean, speaking of which, at the plate right now.
But this may be ultimately the most disappointing championship round appearance for San Mateo yet, because you want to talk about a whole different feeling if they just get that final out in Game 3.
Lifted to center. Jessica Daniel has it, and that will do it. CSM and the Bulldogs will go home, moving on to Championship Sunday. It's SCC Santiago Canyon College. The Hawks move on, and they will face Sacramento City College tomorrow at noon. That'll do it for our coverage here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Join us tomorrow, everybody, at noon, the Panthers and the Hawks for the final on Championship Sunday. For Matt Folsom, Matt Henson, Jeff Stoynoff, I'm Mike Cepeda, signing off here. Thank you for joining us.